You wanna know what my biggest regret of my divorce was? Letting the divorce dictate what I did for about the first 8 years when I started it. I literally let the court system, filings, the motions, the attorneys, the judge, my ex, all the bullshit associated with him, and everything wrapped up in the divorce. I let that shit consume me so fucking much. It is my number one regret. My self-esteem was so low during those first 8 years. I lived and breathed at trying to kiss a man's ass who hated my guts, who was always going to hate me, just so I could come across that our co-parenting journey was okay, when it really was not. It was a shamble. It was a shit show. And I literally tried everything I could to make it perfect for my kids, when in reality, I was only causing more problems because I was showing my kids that boundaries don't matter, self-worth wasn't important, and that I could just, let someone fuck me up with their words. Don't be me. Take care of yourself during this journey.
It took me years to realize that the hardest part of my divorce wasn't losing the relationship, it was losing myself. I became so focused on keeping everyone else happy that I forgot to protect my own peace. Every argument, every disagreement, and every attempt to make things work drained a little more of who I was. I kept believing that if I stayed patient and made enough sacrifices, everything would eventually get better. It didn't. The only thing I was giving away was my confidence and happiness. One day, I finally understood that choosing yourself isn't giving up, it's healing. Your children don't need to see you constantly sacrificing your dignity. They need to see strength, self-respect, and healthy boundaries. So if you're walking through a painful season, remember this: you can't build a better future by abandoning yourself. The moment you start valuing your own well-being is the moment your life truly begins to change.
I've been divorced for 3 years, and in that 3 years, I have spent most of my days figuring out how I can become physically, mentally, financially, spiritually healthy enough to be able to afford and take care of a child. And it just kills me. It kills me that I had embryos with my ex-husband that were viable. It's not just that it's gone, it's the fact that it was decided for me.
I left my husband 5 months ago and I regret it. No, you're not supposed to say that. I know I'm supposed to be in my living my best life, hoe era, whatever, but no. These last 5 months have broken my spirit. They have been the hardest of my life. These last 5 months have required so much work, so much discipline to get back to myself. But it's supposed to suck. I talked to my friend last night about this on the phone and he really put it in perspective for me. Said the year you get a divorce was going to suck regardless. I question my decisions constantly. No matter what choice I made, I would have been miserable regardless. Life is not supposed to be happy and perfect all the time. Most growth comes from the times when we are having to do the work, having to sit in our misery, having to sit in the quiet. And that is exactly what I'm doing. 31 and I feel like I'm 18 again trying to navigate the world. Because you know what I regret more than leaving my husband? It having to get to that point anyway. I regret marrying the wrong person in the first place and not listening to my intuition. From my mistakes. So that you can learn from me being a dumbass. Because I feel dumb all the time. Of course, it's normal to have regret. I regret so many things in my life, but I can't let it ruin my life either. Never learn from things going right. We learn from them going wrong, and I'm holding on to that. I regret that I had to get to that point. I didn't want it to, but it happened, and we move on.
If you've gone through a divorce, I just need to know, does it get easier? Does it get easier being without your kids? Because all I can do every time is cry. No matter what I do, I always end up crying the whole time. Please tell me it gets better because I can't do this.
5 things that I regret as a newly divorced woman in my 50s. First one, paying for the whole of the divorce. The second one is de-skilling my ex-husband throughout our marriage in terms of mothering him. The third one is not ending the marriage sooner than I did. The fourth one is having sex with him for him and not for me. The fifth one is feeling so guilty for choosing my happiness. I will talk about all 5 of those reasons in separate videos because there's a deep dive to be done on most of those. But for now, those are my 5 things that I do regret.
You know, life after divorce. As a woman, I would honestly sit here and say, as much as I've made the decision and the choice to divorce my husband then, I also regret it. I don't regret it because I still loved him, but I regret it because I feel like I denied my children the right and the opportunity to have what people call a normal family. Now today I'm sitting with kids who are in the statistic of divorce. So as much as I've divorced, I would never ever advise anybody to go through a divorce.
Left me with nothing, homeless, left me a single parent to our child with nothing. My biggest regret is not investing in myself. I can blame my ex all I want for that. Ultimately, I did not demand that we invest in me. And for all my ex's hobbies and dreams and goals, we put all of our extra money toward it all the time. After investing in my spouse for 15 years, they decided that now that they had this great job, that they would just toss me aside and move to a fancy new place and wanted to take all their money with them. If I had invested some of that time, some of that money over those 15 years into me, then I wouldn't be struggling the way that I am right now. I should have invested in myself more.
I regret every single day of my life, the last 6 years, giving my ex 50-50 custody of our children. I've stayed away from sharing about my divorce because I don't want you guys to think it's my entire personality. However, I am going to be sharing more because one, I really needed to see things when I was going through my divorce, and it helped me feel validated. And because usually none of your friends are going what you're going through when you're getting divorced, it's hard to be able to go to them and ask for advice or get feedback. And so I want to share for that. But while I don't want to make it my entire personality, I have decided that if he is going to stress me all the way out and he is going to ruin our children's lives while I gave him 50-50 custody, I'm going to go ahead and make the content about it. I saw a quote, and it's so true. No man fights harder for 50-50 custody than the man who couldn't even watch the kids while you took a shower for 15 minutes. We were married for 7 years. He was rarely home. He was very much unhelpful. Pretty much checked out our entire relationship on being a husband and being a father. And when I moved out and said, you know, we're getting a divorce, and he saw that I was serious, he quit his job so that he could have a leg to stand on for 50-50 custody. There's a difference between a divorce. A divorce is never fun. It sucks. There's a difference between a regular divorce and divorcing a narcissist and somebody who's abusive. And there was not really physical abuse, but there was a lot of other things, right? And they said, Andrea, he'll calm down after the divorce. So I know this is all really hard. I know that he's being terrible. I know that he's completely out of pocket. But if you don't want to go to trial, give him 50-50, and we can reverse 50-50 if he proves himself to not be a good dad, he's not co-parenting well, all of this stuff. Two things. A narcissist never calms down after a divorce. I wish I knew that. I was also in denial that he was actually a narcissist because that's what they do. They gaslight you and you're so confused and you don't even know what's happening. Secondly, nowhere, I don't care where you live, is it just a snap of the fingers and a filing to take away 50-50 custody and change that court order. Nobody told me if you want to change it, then you're going to have to spend 40 grand, 2 years of your life, a court battle and a trial for a judge to maybe change it. So for the last 6 years, we have dealt with him not letting me talk to the kids on his week. We are 1 week on, 1 week off. He refuses to sign them up for sports. We have 2 boys. He has gone behind my back multiple times. He has trash talked me to the children that I am just now finding out, because when we got divorced, they were little. Okay. Now they're going to be 10 and 13. And so while I refused to trash talk him and I refused to make their dad a thing when they were here, because I just want us to be happy and move along with our life, their dad has been doing his best, what I would call parental alienation. And so now I am navigating. My oldest comes back angry at me because of things that his dad has told him. Some are true, some are not true. Some should never be told to a child. My children should not be involved in our parenting decisions. And he refuses to have parenting discussions with me about where they're going to go to school, about this, that, and the next thing. He just has it with the children and then sends them back here to bully me so that he will get what he wants. So if you're going through a divorce or you're looking to get a divorce, this is what I'll say. I think very few men deserve 50-50 custody. If their actions in the marriage were not 50-50, they do not get 50-50 custody moving forward. If you all are high conflict and he is abusive to you in any sense of the word, he does not get 50-50. And I should have fought harder on the fact that he was never 50-50 in our marriage. But I felt bad for me leaving him, that him and the children would suffer. And so I gave it to him, thinking that he would be grateful and that he would just be a good dad that he's supposed to be, and that if we were not together anymore, there wouldn't be all of that tension and drama, and that he could enjoy his time with his kids and be a good dad.
I just left my husband of 23 years, and I hid my abuse very well. And a lot of people who knew us are now questioning how come they didn't see any signs. And a lot of the times we create such a big lie to protect, obviously, ourselves and our abusers. And they would ask, well, they never saw any bruises. Where were the bruises? And I told them my spots was always my back and my thighs. And so I asked them, I said, you guys ever notice how I never had my hair down? And they're like, yeah, it's usually always in a ponytail. And I said, yeah, because every time it was down, if you pulled it, it would hurt more than if it was in a ponytail. And then I would say, do you guys ever wonder why I always said no to going to parties or lunch or to your kids' birthday parties? And they were like, well, you always said you didn't like people and you hate other people's kids. And I said, yeah, because it was less embarrassing for me that way to tell you that I don't like people and I hate other people's kids, instead of saying like, oh, I'm not allowed to hang out. And now that we are separated, I am purposely inviting myself to events and people's houses, even if they're not even inviting me. I'm just like, hey, I'm just gonna show up to your house. And they're like, wait, T, we didn't ask you to come to our house. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna show up. And that to me is probably the best part of this journey, is to finally stop lying.
For more than 2 decades, I lived behind a smile that convinced everyone I was okay. No one saw the pain because I became an expert at hiding it. People asked why there were never any visible bruises, but the truth is, the scars were hidden where no one would think to look. They wondered why I always wore my hair the same way, why I skipped parties, birthdays, and family gatherings. I made up excuses because admitting I wasn't free to go felt even more painful. But everything has changed. Now that I've walked away, I'm saying yes to life. I'm showing up, reconnecting with people, and no longer living behind excuses. For the first time in years, I'm not hiding the truth. I'm finally living it.
Let's get it.
I'm sad because my divorce lawyer requested another $4,000, and like I think in the past year and a half I spent like $25,000. And it's not easy. Like, my ex keeps like prolonging this divorce because he wants my dad to sell his house so he can get money from it. Like, the whole custody plan and everything is like all set and done, and it just sucks because I'm like a single mom and I work my ass off.
I blew up my life 2.5 years ago. After a year of telling my husband that I was not happy and us talking about divorce, or me talking about divorce, I just decided one day that that was that. I was gonna leave. And I packed a suitcase. Those of you that have also done this, I wonder if you have any regrets.
I am honestly really sad right now, if you can tell. That's like the weirdest thing about grief is like, didn't cry for 2 days, was good for 2 days, and now I'm by myself, and it's just like the hurricane, like it's here again, you know? It's, the tsunami is back. Like, it's just so hard, and like I'm frustrated because I, got, my whole world got disheveled, and I feel like he has moved on, and he is healed and moved on and doesn't care about me, which I don't want him to come back into my life, but it still just sucks, I can't imagine, thank you guys for sharing stuff, like stories that you've gotten through this and it's been however many years, because I could not imagine that. I can't imagine being with someone for a really long time and going through this, Sorry if you can hear my cat literally playing in the background. Like, I was only with him for 4.5 years, 1 year married. I could not imagine, though, being with him for longer and this happening, but it's just so sad sometimes, and it's like so hard to have to learn how to do life by yourself again. Like, you don't have that person to call all the time or that best friend to go do things with. And that's what scares me. I've never truly been alone and worked on myself, and I'm terrified of it. Not me crying on the internet more, but I just want to share all of it, the good and the bad, so that I have this to look on a year from now and know that I did heal, but also to help anybody else who's going through heartbreak. Like, heartbreak sucks. It sucks so bad. You like physically feel the pain, emotionally, mentally, everything. And again, I had 2 really, really good days. Did not cry at all those 2 days. And then, as soon as I'm by myself, or as soon as, I do something or something triggers me, it just all comes flooding back. And like, it's just a lot. Grief sucks. This whole thing sucks so bad, and I'm literally praying and thinking about anybody else going through a divorce. I just wanted to talk about the fact that it's okay to sit down and miss the person sometimes, miss the connection you had. I think a lot of the times I try, and I think I'm really strong about what happened to me most of the time, and I think that I haven't cried about my ex in a long time, actually. But today, I just kind of sat down, and this is a holiday I probably would have spent with his family too, and it's okay to just like miss what you had sometimes. Like, I know that we try and tell ourselves like, well, they weren't right for us, or maybe they were a bad person, or maybe they did this, or they did this to you. And like, while I think that's true, and like, I think that you can tell yourself that, I mean, that's like, I try and put on this sorry, this is very rambly, but I really did just pick up the camera and start talking. I think what I'm trying to say is that we tell ourselves, or at least I do,
if I'm thinking about my ex, I typically am just like, nope, not gonna think about him. Like, we're detaching, you know what I mean? And that works the majority of the time. But sometimes you can just sit down and cry. You can sit down and let out your feelings. And I think people who don't ever cry about the things, or people who don't ever let themselves think about it, like, we have to think about it. We have to feel the things, and that doesn't make you weak. Like, being vulnerable does not make you weak. I really hate when people say that, because life is all about the human emotions and what we go through. You know what I mean? Like, that is literally life. And I just think that it's okay to just sit down and miss what you had. It's okay to, and that's not even me saying, oh, I miss my ex, I miss blah blah blah. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sometimes I miss having a connection like that, where I felt like, oh, I had a person, right? And like, I had my person. I miss that for sure, but I think sometimes it's okay. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to sit. And I think a lot of the times we try and distract, or we try and fill with voids, or we try and move on to the next person. And some days it's okay to just sit, and it's okay to have a cry and get back out there in life.
Something really quickly. So whenever I figured out that my ex-husband was dating the girl that I was worried about at the end of our marriage, I was so sad at first. And then I realized how much stronger I am now than even I was 6 months ago, because that would have made me feel devastated for like weeks, I feel like. And I was really only sad for like a day or two. Like, yeah, it still hurts. It's disappointing and it hurts, but it's almost like the anticipation of what I thought was going to be my worst nightmare. Now that it like came true, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, that says way more about him than it does me and our relationship. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that and share where my headspace is at and everything.
Is there anybody out there who got divorced and like regrets it? Especially women 35, 40, 45, please tap in and let me know, because at this point I am like probably not 99, maybe 89% sure that I'm probably going to be divorced within the next year. So I can't stay with this. I can't be with you. I can't. And I feel like I've tried so hard. So I've been married for 3 years. People always ask me. And it's really gotten to the point where it's like the past like probably 2 months have just been the worst. To where it's like, oh, maybe we just call it. Maybe we just call a spade a spade. But then I'm like, I remember when my parents got divorced, and I do not want to put, like my son through that. But also, doing it for the kids is not enough. Love is not enough. Getting married, I kind of regret getting married for love, because I damn sure didn't get married for money. But I'm also just like, as a Christian, shouldn't get divorced. Like, whatever it is, we can work it out. It's you and me against the world. But it's like, damn, do I want to be miserable? How long do I want to be miserable for? And the thing that I also hate is like, I feel like people don't share this part of marriage. Like, when people are in the thick of it, because I was watching this interview with like DeVal and Kadeen, and I think he said the first 3 to 5 years of their marriage was like hell, but they stuck it out, and now they've been married for what, like 10, 15 years, and they, seem to be happy. I don't know, but it's like,
being a single mom is literally the hardest ever. Like, you cannot do anything. I literally got like one side of my weights rack at the gym because I tried to work out, and they're calling me over the intercom to come get him literally after 5 minutes because he don't want to be with anybody but me, because I'm the only person with him. But you literally just can't do anything. I'm literally so exhausted from work like 90% of the time, so I don't ever get to do like a good like real workout. And I got him trying to do a workout this evening, and he don't even want to go to the kids club. This is like the 3rd time I've tried to take him. He does not like to be with strangers. So it's just
stupid to be crying over this, but because so many people have such like much harder lives. But I don't know, I feel like I work so hard and I try to please everyone, make everyone else around me so happy, and who takes care of me, Single family home, loving partner, and 2 kids. That's all I want, and why is that so hard for me? Because I'm sitting alone in this messy house, alone, I guess waiting for people to start showing up. It's very emotional.
Just like right now,
just call it quits right now. Just listen to this man pour his heart out to me over his life, right? And it was heavy for me, just as it was heavy for him. Heavier for him, but you know what I'm saying? It's still a mental load for me, which is fine a little bit, because I thought we were not together anymore. So it's like, I don't know if we should be having these conversations. I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to be having these conversations with him or not. It's hard. It was hard in that moment. It's hard for me to sit there and listen to him pour his heart out to me, and I'm supposed to sit there and listen and like help him through it, or like talk, just be there for him. The roles were switched. He wouldn't be listening. You know what I'm saying? This is just so hard, trying to be friends and coexist with an ex, because you still have these personal conversations and it still brings up the old memories, and I can see why people are screaming at me to get out. Let's be clear though, I'm not crying over him. I'm crying because I just had to sit through another hour of hurt. Like, I'm happy I could be there for him, be that person that he needed at that time, even though it's like killing me,
Because I would never tell, I work with women, I would never tell a woman to walk through that in the same frame of mind I was in when I did it.
And when you say that, but what frame of mind was that? What do you mean by that in particular?
I was very, very hurt. I was very angry. And I remember like when I made like the decision, I was like hysterically crying on the phone with my attorney. That was not the person I should have been on the phone with when, like, that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, I was hysterically crying. And I was not in any position to make that decision. I was extremely emotionally intoxicated. We can be intoxicated with our emotions. The truth about the matter is that if I had different people in my ear at that time, I would not have made that decision. No.
Wow.
I wouldn't. And that's the truth. I try my very best at this point in my life to be what I didn't have in that moment. Because I think that women were like, I'm an extremely emotional person. People that know me know that about me. I'm the kind of person that like, okay, I feel so strong, and I can ruminate. I can get so lost in my thoughts. I know a lot of women are like that. Like not all of us, right? But some of us are. Just like a lot of men can be like that. But I know women specifically, there will be moments where they'll be like, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I can't stand this. He don't do this. He don't do that. Blah, blah.
The women who regret divorce aren't the ones who left. They're the women who knew for years it was over, but stayed because they were scared of rebuilding alone, scared of one income, scared of starting over at 50, 60, even 70 years of age. And here's what's interesting. I've spoken to hundreds of divorced women. Very few regret leaving, but many regret waiting. What's something you stayed too long hoping would change?
Part 3 of 5 things that I regret since being divorced, in a woman in my 50s. When I say regret, I mean just things I would do differently. And the third one from the video is not ending things sooner than I did. By this I mean we tried for quite a long time before the actual marriage came to an end, even to the point where I arranged for us to have our vows renewed, because it was a last ditch attempt. Let's give this one final go, surely we can bring this back. And we just couldn't. The complacency was far too deep. And because of that, I do think that for me, and I don't speak for all women, but for me, when complacency runs that deep within a relationship and there's just no appreciation anymore, I checked out. And I don't think there was much that he could have done to bring my feelings back, because you shouldn't have to keep being told how things should be, or what's upsetting you, or what you would like more of. You shouldn't have to. You have to listen to what someone's telling you, because what they're presenting as is what they are. And trying to change someone and get them to be how they used to be, if they don't want to, they're not going to do it. So
I think in hindsight, all the effort that was put in to try to save the relationship was a waste of time.
The women that are getting a divorce in their 40s and up, I will say 99.9% of them, they are not leaving for another man. They are leaving for themselves, because what they have realized is that they have put themselves on the back burner for so long. They have burned themselves out. They have been prioritizing everybody but themselves. And now they are realizing that shit ain't gonna fly now. So yeah, we are choosing ourselves, and the men don't understand. That's not our business. All we gotta do is keep showing up for each other, showing up for ourselves, and keep doing our work. That's it, that's all.
Sucks that my kids have to pay the price for my failures. Sucks that their experience of childhood is going to be in a separated home, two homes, because of my bad choices.
Husband, I wanted to be separated from him, and people keep saying sorry, and I'm only crying right now because that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. I truly thought I was going to be with him forever. And I still love him so much, and I wanted it to be different, but it's not. It's okay to be upset. This is 17 years of my life we're talking about. Somebody I shared children with, who I built a life with. So yeah, say sorry, but also say congratulations for also being really strong. Because that was not...
If it's about him necessarily, like him, or if it's just because, like... I want somebody, and I want somebody to want me. It's so bad that I just want to be wanted in my little girl's room. And, she's gone to her dad's, and she loves him, and he's a great dad. But it's never gotten better. I come home and I just sit in a room and I walk out there and her toys are exactly where she left them. I can't even bring myself to clean them up. And I just have to be here in this house where my baby's supposed to be in her bed. And those toys are supposed to be getting played with by her, and I'm supposed to be here when she wakes up in the night. And please don't get me wrong, she deserves time with her dad, he deserves time with her. They have a very special, beautiful bond. But the pain of coming home without your baby, and the emptiness that you feel in your home, it never gets better. It never, ever, ever.
So why am I getting divorced after a year and a half? I got married at 28 and I'm 29 and I'm currently getting a divorce. And I owe it to you guys to explain to you why I'm getting a divorce, because over 10 million of you guys watched me get married last year across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and a lot other wedding content that I put out. I'm a lifestyle creator, and so, you know, you're gonna see my life, the ups, the downs, all of it. It is just a part of the process. But the reason why I do want to share why I'm getting divorced is because I got married to a narcissist unknowingly, and it was all built upon a lie. And I started talking about this on Threads and on my Twitter account, and I shared some of that to my Instagram stories. And since sharing that, I've gotten hundreds of DMs from women who are in the same situation or who have been in that situation. And so many of them have told me, I'm so grateful that you've been talking about this and that you've been transparent about this, because I didn't have the strength to leave. Now that I'm seeing that you are leaving so soon as well, I'm now inspired to leave. I do want to talk about this specifically when it comes to the narcissistic abuse part, because you don't even realize it's happening to you while it's happening to you. For so many of us, we just didn't even know what was happening while it was happening. I'm going to share as much as I can. And I think it's also important for us to remember that there's a difference between narcissistic personality disorder and having narcissistic traits, okay? Those are two different things. So let's start from the beginning. So in 2020, I met my husband on Hinge, and I was living in New York City at the time, and I was working from home. I was working on Wall Street, and I was pretty isolated. Here comes my husband on Hinge, and he looks great, and he seems like a pretty decent guy, and he really sold himself as like this faith-based guy, and like really serious with like really good intentions, and you know, I bought it. Now, he was going to be starting a job on Wall Street as well at a different firm, and I like the fact that he was already in the industry, so he understood my work schedule, because I really did have a demanding schedule. Again, very normal guy, seemingly decent guy. The relationship is good to start. Towards the end of 2020, I started to pick up on the fact that our values weren't really aligned, and especially when it came to faith, there were some things that weren't adding up, right? So I did let him know that, hey, I think we should break up. I think we should part ways, because, you know, we're just not aligned. Now, he accepted it at first, but then he kept trying to message me and get back with me and saying, you know, I really don't understand. I really miss us and all of that. And then he starts to mention the fact that there's a ring fund, because, you know, he sees me as his future wife, that he's already gained 14% on. And I remember saying to him, like, I'm sorry, what does that have to do with anything? And so that is an example of, I think it's called love bombing. I am somebody who had a narcissistic parent. So I grew up on gaslighting. I grew up on manipulation. I grew up on love bombing. So that feels familiar to me. I didn't really have the language for what exactly my soon-to-be ex-husband was doing at the time, but now that I do have the language for it, I see it for what it was, right? If you have broken up with somebody, they seemingly accept it, but then they're coming back and they're like, okay, but I have 14% on a ring fund, right? They're trying to like lure you back in, right? They're trying to talk about all these things that they do for you or what they're doing for you to try to lure you back in. Now, I was resistant to his efforts. At the beginning of 2021, I do start a new job, and that job is actually at the firm that he's working at in a different capacity, but we've been broken up. We're still cordial. Now, he's still trying to get back with me. He's inserting himself in a way that's friendly, but like also clearly like he regrets that, you know, we parted ways. Again, I'm focusing on my new job. I'm just focusing on like getting my life together. He does become a source of support for me as I'm in this new job, because he's already familiar with this firm. He knows how to support people, and like he really is just a great friend to have. My birthday's in July, and yes, we're friends, we're not together, but he totally inserted himself into my birthday in a way that was like, you know, I'm her man, got me a cake and everything, and like I appreciated all of those efforts, because at the end of the day, like, it's great to have somebody who is looking out for you and all those things. But again, I wasn't cognizant of the fact that like boundaries were not in place, right? And this is something that you have to be very aware of as a young woman when you're dealing with these men. Like, if you have broken up with somebody, right, there is no reason why they should still be coming around in that capacity. And if they keep coming around under the guise of friendship, right, because they love and care about you deeply as a friend, you need to be very careful. Because I was very convinced that, okay, he keeps showing up and he's just around because, like, you know, he just cares deeply about me and he just wants to be the person that's there for me. Now, despite the fact that we're broken up, anybody who has shown any kind of interest in me, anyone who he knows is interested in me, he's creating obstacles for these people. He would want to spend like every waking moment of the weekend with me, and I just had zero space. This is another sign that you are dealing with a narcissist. They do not give you any space. Keep in mind, the job that I had at this time on Wall Street, I was working at the desk from 6:30 a.m. until roughly about like 6:30 p.m. right? So I'm 12 hours on the desk, Monday to Friday, and every waking minute of the weekend, he would want to spend time with me. I don't really like people like that. I like my space. I do believe that I am an introvert, and I really do need to recharge, especially when I'm in an office setting and when I'm around people for so long, like I need like to decompress, right? I'm blessed now that I work from home and I don't need to like recharge as much, but I really needed my space. Now it is fall of 2021 and he is really lobbying, really pushing that we get back together. And he's even convinced another one of my friends that he really loves me. He really sees a future with me and, you know, for me to give him a chance. He's very, very, very convincing. Like this man, he could sell you anything. He is really good. He puts on a great show. And even my friend is like, wow, like I don't know any guy who's ever loved you this much. Like this man he is so committed. And I'm like, yep, that is true. And I'm like, you know what? I'll give him a chance. We did get back together.
Oh my God, I'm officially divorced! Yeah!
You was just talking about this.
I'm officially primary custodian of the kids. What about the child support? That's it? Are you kidding me? Now all of this financial burden with my children is on me? It's just not fair. Like he doesn't have to pay nothing of it? Nothing? Crap, this is
I think the reason why I'm still single is because I'm selecting. I'm trying to select. You understand? Right now, I'm not selecting again. I'm not selecting again because it is getting too much. Now, I'm not selecting. See, if you know you are broke or one decap, but if you shall know you like me, tell me. Go straight to the point. I'm not selecting again. I'm not doing shakarami or shishakaramo. Go straight to the point. Let's start talking. See, I'm not doing shaka. This single life is not good, especially when you are not in Nigeria. It's not good at all. Go straight.